I was running as fast as my worn out sandals and the crowd would allow, out of breath, out of money, and I guess finally out of luck. Luck! Ha! After a lifetime of seeking, it had come to this. Hightailing it down the murky streets of Marrakesh, chased by mercenaries who believed I had desecrated their temple, which I hadn't. Well, not much anyway, and it wasn't intentional. How was I to know that no human had entered the holy cavern in 1500 years? Rumors referred to it as the Lost Temple. So imagine my surprise to discover it wasn't lost, but hidden and guarded. Like I said, a minor desecration, and apparently the wrong temple. Again. So I sidestepped into a narrow alley just as the mercenaries whizzed past me, weapons drawn. As luck would have it, luck! Ha! A merchant was passing by with a cart full of textiles. I jumped in and quickly covered myself until we arrived in the boisterous town square. I slipped out of the cart and bartered with the merchant for some new clothes. Then I headed home to Casablanca, disappointed again. Back in my loft, I surveyed my dust-covered quarters, precarious towers of old books, stacks of notes piled on any available flat surface, and poking out of every crevice. Weird artifacts people had convinced me were from the Lost Temple. I am a lunatic, I thought. I decided to take a break from my quest. I'd been searching for 30 years, and I was getting too old to outrun the zealots of ancient mystery cults. The Marrakesh caves were my last lead anyway, and before I was unceremoniously chased away, I'd already realized the temple isn't in Morocco, which is a pity, because I rather like it here. So I swatted away dingy papers off my couch, sat down, and passed out. I woke at the loud thunk of a power switch as a single light turned on somewhere so high above me I couldn't discern a ceiling. And yet, while the light illuminated me, nothing around me was visible. I couldn't tell if I was in a tiny room or an exceedingly ginormous cavern. Not that either would have made me feel less vulnerable. I shouted, "Hello!" But although I moved my lips and I felt my vocal cords resonate, no sound left my lips. I heard nothing, particularly the echo I was expecting to help me figure out where the walls were and how big, or small I suppose, this space was. "Hello!" I yelled louder. And again, while in my mind I knew I had roared, the room was silent. Now that I was paying attention, I realized there were no sounds at all. No ambient noises of any sort, not even the hum of air conditioning or the white noise typical of emptiness. Nothing but suffocating silence. To make matters worse, I suddenly noticed I wasn't sitting on anything either. I had no sense of the size of the room, and it appeared I was floating? And then suddenly, pinholes of light began to poke through the darkness. A few popped in here and there at first, distracting me from the disconcerting notion that I was unsupported by any physical object. Then, gaining momentum and number until I couldn't keep up, hundreds, thousands, and ultimately billions of pinpoints surrounded me until with childlike glee, I forgot my worries as my fear turned to uncontrollable giggling. I realized the pinpoints of light were stars, and I could feel them tickling my soul as I floated effortlessly in the silky, inky ultra blackness of everything and nothing. I was in the temple. I relaxed and sensed the undulating allness of being supporting me, entrancing me, and clothing me with comfort. Try as I might, I was incapable of thinking. I was no thing, yet aware of everything. Life uninterrupted, blissful, eternal. I was at one, attuned to the intelligent cosmos, what some call God. Then The stars began singing in billions of languages, in voices from beyond the universe. Every manifestation of the creative mind was in the temple with me. At first, I was overwhelmed by the sheer diversity of creation, incapable of doing anything other than cataloging sounds and dialects. Then, as I began to focus on one voice at a time, pictures came into view. I realized every creature was sharing stories about their lives, the joys and sorrows, the beautiful surprises, and the unexpected horrors. No world, it seemed, had ever been free of war and turmoil, but many had worked through those challenges and created peaceful, progressive societies that were traveling the stars and freely sharing their knowledge. Keep going, the voices urged me. Keep pushing. Every world we represent is on its way to wholeness. Listen and learn. Don't lose hope. Listen and learn. Don't lose hope. And then, wake up! A voice interrupted my reverie. I felt I was close to knowing, to finally finding the way to the temple so I could return anytime I desired and show others the way. Just another minute. Another minute, and I'll have directions for everyone. Wait, I pleaded. Just a moment, please, wait. But wake up, wake up, wake up, the voice cloyingly screeched. You have to get moving. And then I awoke, covered in newsprint, as if the temple had tattooed itself into me. The shock of reality forced me to jump upright and stand at attention as I readjusted, panting and unable to catch my breath. I ran to the kitchen, turned on the sink faucet, and lapped up water with my hands as fast as possible. Then I slid to the floor, overwhelmed. It's taken me a long time to adjust to my new mindset. After a lifetime of searching, I'd found the temple. In Morocco, after all, as I expected, yet not in Morocco. The legendary Lost Temple was a physically metaphysical space. Now that I'd experienced it, I understood that to return was easier than traipsing all over the globe in search of it. To enter the Lost Temple, the eternal holy temple, requires only that we stop believing what we're convinced is real and instead open our minds to what seems impossible. Within us all, the holy temple waits, inviting us, perhaps urging us, to come and open ourselves by relinquishing everything we've preconceived. After decades of running around the planet looking for the fabled lost temple, I finally discovered it was everywhere I'd ever searched. Because the temple is always me. Amen.